Let's bring out, have a round of applause for Mary Malloy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, Mary,
Yes.
when I called you up and I gave you the idea, I said, you know, you've been on our show before, but I think a regular segment focusing on seniors. Wow, look who's here. Mary. All right, Mary Ellen Malone. What a surprise.
Hello,
Good to see
Howie.
you. Good to see you. I'm great. Great
Oh,
to see
you're
you.
the one. He keeps calling me Mary Malone. I'm Mary Malloy.
Nice to
My
meet you.
nemesis here.
All right, awesome. So, you know, when I came up with the idea, and I wanted, what do you think of, first of all, calling it Sensational Seniors, shining the light on seniors?
Well, I like the idea. It appealed to me. I like the sensational. I would have added sassy to it also, but that's okay. Sensational. And we hope to bring attention to the older generation and what we contribute to society.
Absolutely. And we have another sensational senior, Mayor Minch's grandma. I think you have to be a sensational senior as well, because anyone that can put up with Mayor for all these years is truly sensational. So definitely Mayor's grandma is a sensational senior. So anyone that can survive all these years with Mayor is beyond sensational. So kudos. Absolutely.
5 cruises and more.
So, but what do you got? But Mary, I'm excited because I think you're going to bring an energy, a passion. We love Miss New York Senior America, and I think this is just, instead of doing that once a year, to do it on a weekly basis, highlighting there's so many great things that the seniors are doing. It's going to be phenomenal. So we are pumped for Mary Malloy.
Oh, thank you.
By the way, we now have 2 double M's on the show. How cool is that? We have Mayor Minch and Mary Malloy, so 2 double M's.
And Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
All right. So, and also joining us is Mary Ellen Malone.
Hello.
So we have 3 double M's here today.
Triple M threat.
All right, awesome. So Mary, take it away with your very first segment.
All right, thank you. Well, this is my first segment. I am a senior. I know a lot of people get shaky when they hear that term, especially if they're over 50 or 60 or whatever age. Sometimes I'll have guests with me. I have a guest today, and I'll introduce him. But what we hope to do is now. I'm going to call this the first episode, full disclosure.
Okay.
Okay, with the guest. I did that because getting ready today, I got up and I thought of what I was going to do tonight, so I had to take a nap. And then I took a nap, so so I could go to Target and get a nice little pretty blouse, and that was tiring. So I came home and I took another nap, and then I took a shower. I didn't nap in the shower, but I was okay. I had to get ready. I have notes in large type. They are in large type, so I can see them with my contact lenses. So I will be referring to them once in a while. I don't know if you want me to ad-lib too much, because this show could go anywhere. What we will be talking about anything of interest with the over 50 crowd. Could be money, relationships, friendships, dating, marriage, entertainment, children, grandchildren, empty nesters, starting over, kids, close your ears, sex, and travel, and more. So, and I'd really like to make this interactive. So I do have an email you could send to me, or if anybody tonight wants to give me a topic they'd like to talk about. Very briefly, and you'll be glad I said that, a little bit about me. I am 63. I am the mother of 4 children, a few that are here today, but I won't point them out until later on. I was married 3 times. I'm with Miss New York Senior America, who I met when I was 60. You have to be 60 and over to be with this organization. I was a widow at the time, it was 4 years ago, and they really, really helped me come into my own. I also love them because I'm one of the youngest people in the organization. Where else can I be one of the kids? These women are fabulous. They're wonderful, they're vital, they're vibrant, and they bring a lot too. You've seen them, they dance and they sing, and they just bring their own vitalness to everything. So that's how I got here. I turned 60. I was a new widow. I got my first tattoo. Maybe on a upcoming show, I'll show my tattoo. It would have to be the summertime. Do I hear cheering over there? Or groaning? Okay. Okay. So I have a guest here today. I will have future guests. Next week we have Dolores Hoffman, who was Miss Senior America 2016. And she was the first female forklift operator at JFK in the 70s. So she kind of paved the way. Also, Frank Trotta has agreed to be here, maybe in person or by phone. He is the publisher of 50 Plus Lifestyles magazine, which featured our Scott Ferrone as the Renaissance man of Long Island now, soon to take over the world. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. And he's also a former commissioner of the Suffolk County Office of the Aging. So we hope to have people on talking about entertainment and going into community theater when you're an older a person and how that works. So now I do have some ideas of what we could do in the future. And I'd like to get your input on that before we introduce my esteemed guest here. So I was thinking maybe we could do a live senior dating game. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? All right, we can have them right here. We can have them next to a partition. You know, bachelor number 1, what's your favorite hearing aid? Bachelor number 2, where do you buy your Depends in CVS?
Well, you know something, I won't mention who, but I know someone very well who's 86 years old who just started dating a gentleman. So I don't want to hear about you're too old because she's 86 and she's loving it.
That's right, that's right. We could also do This Is Your Life, but we don't want to really scare anybody too much. We could do Fun Things to Do Without Breaking a Hip. We could do Affairs of the Heart, Burn. Traveling on a Social Security budget. Now, these things are funny, but it's true. A lot of us are on a budget, and we might be on pensions, or we're going into a new phase of our lives. So these would be things that we'd all want to be interested in, we can all participate in. And I also want to have some experts on, some therapists, some people who could tell us about getting involved and staying vital and staying vibrant when you're over 50, 60, 70, or 80. Speaking of over 80, we have a wonderful guest with us today.
Thank you.
This is Bob Geltman.
Yay!
And Bob Geltman is a Korean War veteran. He was drafted. You were drafted, right?
Right. I did not go voluntarily.
Not voluntarily. We'll give him the mic in a second. In the early 50s, we call him Mr. Senior America because he is also with that organization. He is the man behind the women. He does the music. He coordinates. He helps them with whatever they need help with. So he's going to be talking about. And we were trying to decide about a subject, and this is very near and dear to his heart. And I'm going to let him continue. But the subject is not necessarily, and this happened during when he was drafted. But the subject is making choices and decisions that can change the course of your life. And it could be the smallest thing at the time, but when you look back, it was something that changed the direction of the way your life went. So, without further ado, Mr. Bob Geltman.
Thank you. I first want to congratulate you on your new radio show. And secondly, I'm honored to be your first guest. It's an interesting thing, and I thought about this a lot in recent years about how did we get to this spot right here today, about all of the decisions that we made along the way in everyday life. And it was an interesting thing that one of the decisions that I made happened while I was in the service. After my basic training, I got orders to report to Fort Ord, California, which meant I was going to Korea. And the decision was, well, should I go home on leave or should I stay here and just go right out to Fort Ord? And the decision I made was to stay at the camp rather than go home, which was a very fortuitous thing for me, because while I was walking around on the post, I saw a couple of men playing baseball, and I just sauntered over and said, could I get in the game? And interestingly enough, they said, this is a camp team. Now, being in the Army, I said, what the hell is a camp team? I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, they said, we're pro ball players. So I said, well, I had a tryout with the Yankees and with the Brooklyn Dodgers back in 1948. So they said, okay, call and speak to the colonel. And they gave me this tryout. And voila, the next day, I'm no longer going to Fort Ord, California. I am now cadre at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And my job in the Army was to play baseball. And the things that the choice that you make, I mean, if I had gone home on leave to say goodbye to the family, I could have gone to Fort Ord, shipped out to Korea, and gotten killed. I mean, who knew? But so I'm talking about minor little decisions that people make every day in their life. You come to a fork in the road, which way you're gonna go? And what brought you to where you are today, which is what I was talking about at a seminar in Hofstra University.
Do you think, I mean, that happened when you were pretty young. Do you think that we can still make decisions like that? I mean, a lot of us older think, well, okay, this is it. Now it's kind of a straight line. And what about choices now? People, I think, older feel limited with their choices.
Well, I mean, you always have an option. There's always two answers to every question. And there's no such thing as a right or a wrong answer. It's what you feel is the best route for you to take. Tomorrow, it may change. Every day is a complete variety of, it's a smorgasbord when you come to the table and all of these options are there. Which one are you going to take? That's basically what it is.
Okay, now you think that was the better option for you. I mean, you know, I know you were a veteran, but Korea didn't seem that appealing at the time.
No.
Any other decisions you made along the way you think had an effect like that, or?
A funny thing happened on the way, you know, while I was playing ball for Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I get called into the office about 4 or 5 weeks down the road, and the colonel says to me, "You're being transferred." And I said, "What did I do wrong?" And they said, "You did nothing wrong. Obviously, you did something right, because you're being transferred to Fort McPherson, which is 3rd Army Headquarters, and General McAuliffe." And this was like another godsend for me. So I traveled there, and I became a ball player with some of the finest ball players in the country. We traveled around the country from Fort McPherson, play in Fort Monmouth, we play in Dwight Ford, and some of the really big-time ball players. It was fun for me in the Army. Sorry I left.
And who knew all that would lead to Halftime Howie Show?
Absolutely, and I just want to mention something really, really special. Bob over here will be going up on the Nassau County Veterans Monument Wall of Honor. How cool is that? And a dedication ceremony on June 23rd, 11 a.m. at Eisenhower Park. How cool is that going to be? And I'm sure that maybe we'll be there to film that day, and that'll be awesome. So, Bob, talk about getting that great honor on June 23rd.
It's something I didn't anticipate. I've been asked in the past years to be on it, and I always felt that the guys that deserved to be on there never came home, and I didn't think I deserved it. And one day, the women in Senior America decided they were going to get me on that wall, and they're the ones that made it happen.
Awesome.
That is great. So, who here thinks that Mary did a great job in her first segment? Now, I want to tell you about one of the ironies of having Mary on the show is that, recently we've added several new segments, great segments as our show is getting more popular. And one of our more recent segments is the Renaissance Man will be coming up later, Scott Ferrone, who combines his passion of photography and music, was one of our recent additions, been a great addition to the show. And of course, Mary is our latest addition, and there's a cool connection between Mary and Scott. And that is that Scott's son, Tyler, happens to be very good friends with Mary's grandson, Tom. And they're both here today to enjoy the show. Now, I think that's really cool. And, our show really runs the gamut of all kinds of segments. And now, as we're focusing on the seniors, how about starting a cool youth segment with Tyler and Tom doing a little music rap segment? What do you think of that idea, guys?
I like it.
What do you think? Because you have a passion for rap. Is that true, Tom?
Yeah.
Is that true, Tyler?
Yes.
Now, would that be a cool idea? You and Tom collaborating to do a cool rap music segment? What do you think, Tom?
Sure.
Why not?
All right, so that's something to look forward to.
Talk to his agent.
So, and their two biggest critics are going to be Dad and Grandma, that's for sure. So, but that's really cool. But anyway, let's have a round of applause for Mary and Bob. That was awesome.